What's up, guys? So you can probably hear a snoring doggy in the background. It's a snoring puppy. Of course, they will go to sleep right after. I was just doing a tarot reading with a brand new client, and my dogs were barking and being obnoxious the entire time. And as soon as we got off the phone, they both fell asleep. So there's that. Anyways, I just wanted to pop on really quickly, you guys, and just talk a little bit about this space between. It's something that I've experienced a lot over the last few months. And probably for a long time. I just don't think I've ever really talked about it. But for example, I mean the space between something transformative and then life, like your day to day, right? When I was leaving Date with Destiny, our trainer said to us, you're not going back to reality. You're not going back anywhere. You're literally stepping forward into something brand new, which was a really impactful thing for me to hear, right? So I was very grateful for her to give us that insight. Because it isn't, you're never going back to anything. You're stepping forward into something with all the stuff and the experiences that you just had, right? So it's actually a really beautiful thing to realize that, like, you don't have to go backwards if you want to, right? And so it's the space between. And so I would mean like the space between me leaving Date with Destiny, right? And really being able to incorporate and integrate all that I learned into life, which is going to continuously be a thing for a while. In the future here. But then the same thing just happened now where I was able to go. I had the privilege to go and be at a Miraval resort. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. If you haven't, you should look them up. It's incredible. I went to Miraval Austin and I was there for 5 days. So I was gone for 6 days. I was in Miraval for 5 days. It is completely focused on mindfulness, presence, balance. It takes being present to a level that my heart was just so happy, right? It was like I found my fucking people. Every single person there was so considerate and everything was taken care of for you, and it was all very real, and everybody was on a similar, path to just having better life, right? And so I'm so grateful that I got to have that experience. But there's that space between there and here, right? So I came back Wednesday night and I did something different than I normally would. And I want to share with you because I feel like it was the key. So I came back Wednesday night. It was like the simplest, easiest flight of my life from Austin to St. Louis, up and down. It was beautiful. I had a really nice guy next to me he used to be a business coach a million moons ago, right? And so we had great conversation. He's retired now and all of those things. But anyway, I got home and of course there's a million things to do because I was gone for a week. Tony had to be with the new puppy. Apparently, it was different than he expected, so he didn't get any of the stuff done in the house that we would normally do throughout the week. And so there was just a lot to do. I hadn't touched my business in 6 days, all of these things. And so in the past, what I would have done is I would have come home and immediately started making lists of things to do. I would have come home and been like, all right, I got to do this and this and this and this and this, right? All of which causes me to have anxiety before I go to sleep. Not helpful, right? So what I did instead was I laid on the floor with my dogs and I snuggled my puppies. I had time with Tony. I had some dinner. I, took a super long shower and went to bed. That's what I did. And I woke up the next morning, had my normal morning routine. So this was yesterday. I woke up yesterday, had my normal long, beautiful morning routine before I started into work. And I really didn't even do much work yesterday on purpose. I went in and I said, I did my trainings that I needed to do, and then the rest of the space I allowed to be what it was or what I needed it to be, and I got a ton of shit done in my house, which was beautiful. I took down all the Christmas trees because they were still up, put down all the Christmas decorations, right? But it was because I allowed the space between. I allowed myself a moment to not come back to the way things were before because I didn't want to go backwards. I had just literally had the most pleasant experience and felt so light and so great. I didn't want to go back to anything. So did I have a victoriously large task-filled day yesterday? Yes. At the end of the day, was I just completely felt rewarding and light still? Yes. And I really think there's power in that space between. You try to jump back in or try to get caught up on or get a handle on. Trust me, there was nothing that I would have done Wednesday night when I got home that would have helped move anything forward in my business in that moment. It was not as silly. It's this rule that we think we're supposed to do, right? It makes more sense to everyone. And it's like, no, that's not it either, right? And so I think we have to stop with the external forces, right? Or telling you, jump back in, you have to jump back into reality. And people are like, yeah, Jamie, better, it's easier said than done. It's true, but everything you do is a choice that you get to make, right? So what if you chose Do you hear Mac crying now? Because God forbid I'm talking to the computer again. He doesn't like it. Anyway, what if you chose to take the evening and start work back when it makes sense again? When you had it scheduled again, instead of forcing these little things into these little pockets because you're supposed to, and it doesn't actually, it takes away all of the beauty and growth that you've just had because you went back to something that you just spent a week getting away from. I had this trip and I didn't need recovery time for my trip. It was something that I was shocked by when I left Date with Destiny too. Date with Destiny, you know, we're talking 70 something hours of training in a 6-day window, right? And the fact that after that 17-hour days, like insanity, I didn't need recovery time. Like, sure, I wanted a really good night's sleep, but there was no room or space to need to recover from that. And that's super powerful, right? So it's the space between where we allow things, the stuff we just learned, or the growth we just created, or the space that we just found, we allow it to exist instead of pushing it all back in, you know? So that's my message for you today. Take that wherever you need to. I hope that it's helpful. I hope it makes you think a little bit more. But a lot of these things are gifts that we deny ourselves because we're just not used to that moment of choosing to do it a little bit different. So that's my message for you today. Huge takeaway. Love you. Have a great rest of your day. As always, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you think anyone else can benefit from it, share it on over to your feed. Thank you for that. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Oops.